Greg Hunter, welcome to USAWatchdog.com. Before we start, my trusted advertisers, they all have phone numbers, discount gold and silver trading. You need a core asset. This is the satellite phone store where they have sat phones and also solar power generation, backup power, block all signals. This is a Faraday, ballistic bags. Again, there's a phone number, 855-980-5830. The backpack will stop most hand rounds. Clean water, fits a Berkey dry element. Again, there's the phone number. Weston Scientific, there's all kinds of news about them getting this stupid bird flu going, and this is the bipolar ionization that can make your house really clean in terms of air treatment. And then finally, last but not least, this is the extended Cyber Monday sale right here at the Wellness Company. Click on that, get up to 20% off on one of these emergency medical kits or emergency contagion kits. It's the last day of their Cyber Monday. And without further ado, I wanted to bring him back. He just had him on, but he's such a great legal mind. He's fought the Clintons. He's a truth teller. He founded Judicial Watch and now Freedom Watch. He is Larry Klayman. Larry Klayman, thanks for joining us today on USAWatchdog.com.
My pleasure and honor. Lots to talk about.
Yes, you are a legal mind and lawyer extraordinaire. And I wanted to talk about this Hunter Biden pardon, and it's not just that. It's the pardons behind it. First of all, the Hunter Biden pardon, which his mother, Joe Biden, says, I'm so proud, I'm happy my son's been pardoned. Of course she is, but maybe the rest of the country is not. What does that say about our government and the state it's in right now, and what are the other pardons that are coming?
On November 5th, obviously, President Trump was elected in a landslide as the 47th president. So the American people recognize just how corrupt our legal system is. And it's one of the things that we can talk about later on how we can clean it up. Because without a functioning legal system, how do you resolve disputes peacefully and legally? You can't. But the fact that Jill Biden is so happy about this is because she's one of the actors, the conspirator, in the bribery which took place with regard to communist China, Ukraine, and Russia. She benefited by it. And of course, who was the launderer, the money launderer? Her son, Hunter Biden. So, not that anything's going to happen, it won't in terms of our government, if you want to call it that. And President Trump has other fish to fry at this point in time, but she could have been indicted along with Hunter as well as brother James of the Biden crime family for this bribery and money laundering. And in fact, we at Freedom Watch had previously held, and you can see it on our website at freedomwatchusa.org, and I sent out a video yesterday about this. You can see that as well, and I'll give it to you, Greg, is that we had held a citizens' grand jury where ordinary citizens were given information and evidence. The Bidens were indicted for this. Joe Biden, Hunter Biden, and James Biden. We didn't indict Jill Biden. We could have at the time. And they were then convicted. We asked them to appear, to defend themselves. They refused. They have no respect for the power of the American people. We have a right to have citizens' grand juries and citizens' trials. As I may have mentioned last time, in 1992, the late, great Antonin Scalia, Supreme Court Justice, found that the grand jury belongs to the American people, not the three branches of government, and that can exist in a parallel fashion to the Justice Department, which didn't even come into effect until July 4th, 1870, kind of like Wyatt Earp, enforcing the law on behalf of the American people in the Old West. So anyway, to make the long story short, we indicted and we tried Joe Biden, Hunter Biden, and James Biden. They were found guilty of the bribery. Biden was also found guilty of negligent homicide in Afghanistan, resulting in the death of 13 of our brave servicemen at Kabul airport and killing 10 of our Afghan allies, including 7 of their children, one 3 years old, because he wanted to look tough after our servicemen were killed and he sicked a drone on them. And consequently, there is a legitimate conviction of Joe Biden, which can be enforced. In 48 states in this country, you have a right of citizen's arrest if you know someone committed a felony. Here, we're beyond that. We actually have convictions, and you can see that on our website at freedomwatchusa.org, along with a video of portions of that trial. And again, we gave the Bidens an opportunity to appear, to defend themselves. They didn't respond. We tried them in absentia. We had a citizen's judge. They could have had a jury. We said, you can come again and make an argument at your sentencing. They didn't show up. And if we can find established law enforcement, and this is a message to people that are listening, that will enforce these convictions, it goes beyond a citizen's arrest, is that Biden, peacefully and legally, not violently, along with his son Hunter, along with his brother James, frankly, should be arrested. And they got 20 years in prison each for that. Now, we have to do this kind of thing because we didn't have a Justice Department that would mete out justice. And the Trump Justice Department is going to be busy on a lot of other things right now. I don't think he really wants to get into this, frankly. There are many other fish to fry that we'll talk about, like Christopher Wray and Merrick Garland and the rest of the criminals at the Justice Department. But this is a factor which can certainly be considered in bringing about justice. So as far as Jill Biden is concerned, Jill, she's equally guilty of these crimes. And so she's relieved that her son has been let off the hook, because she thinks that ultimately that will let her off the hook and will let Joe off the hook and let brother James off the hook and the rest of the family that profited by all of this.
Do blanket pardons for James and Jill and all these other himself? Will he make more pardons for that or not? Do you think it's?
I think there's a good possibility. I think for James he will, his brother, because his brother is dead to rights in terms of what's been uncovered.
You think more pardons are coming?
I think more pardons are coming. He doesn't care at this point. The guy has no legitimate reputation. The guy is a proven liar. Even some Democrats are coming out today and saying that. The press secretary, which looks like some kind of carnival character, Karine Jean-Pierre, comes out and makes all these excuses as to why, he did it. That now he's seen the weaponization with regard to his son and was unfair, blah, blah, blah. Of course, he didn't see it with regard to Trump when he sicked his Justice Department on Donald Trump. And when, in D.C., they sick bar associations on conservative and Republican activist lawyers to try to disbar them so we can't defend our clients' interests in court. But now there's a problem with weaponization with regard to Joe Biden. So to answer your question, yes, I think he will wind up pardoning his brother James, and he very well may issue pardons for himself and also Jill Biden. And what does he have to lose? I mean, he is the worst president certified in the history of this country. He is a liar extraordinaire. He is incompetent. He's brain dead. And frankly, he may not even know what he's done. Maybe they put the piece of paper in front of him, sign here, because you know what? He doesn't even have the mental acuity to know what he's doing half the time. So this is where we are today. It's an unfortunate situation, and it is outrageous. But we do have a means to enforce the convictions that Freedom Watch got legally. So if someone from law enforcement will step up to enforce it, then I think that would be the way to go.
Kash Patel is nominated officially for FBI director, and then you have Senator Dick Durbin saying, no, you can't fire Christopher Wray. He's impaneled. He's in the seat until 2027. Is that true? Can Trump not fire Christopher Wray, who did an awful job at the FBI?
I don't think it's ever happened before, but I firmly believe that he can. I mean, he's the president of the United States. The FBI is an executive branch agency. So if he does not want someone to serve, then he can certainly fire them. But there are other ways around that too. I mean, he can make Christopher Wray's life so uncomfortable that he would likely resign. And remember, Christopher Wray probably has had it in his own right. He's been in the crosshairs. People know what he's done. He's corrupt. He's a criminal. He has, persecuted religious groups. He has gone against J6ers with mass surveillance. I enjoined him and the National Security Agency back in 2014 from that, but they continued to do it anyway. And he probably would like to go back into private practice and make a lot of money, which he will do. And most of the big law firms in Washington, D.C. are very sleazy, Democrat-controlled law firms that would love to have him, just like Robert Mueller went back to Hale, the Hale law firm at the time, to make lots of money. So I think he'll probably leave of his own volition.
Do you think that they will charge him for some of the stuff that he did or didn't do? I mean, do you think that he could get charged?
No, I don't think they'll charge him. It doesn't work that way in Washington. Okay. And I said this on my podcast yesterday. We are going to charge him in our citizens' grand juries and citizens' trials, along with Merrick Garland, the Attorney General, along with others who have been involved in this outrage, this weaponization of our legal system and perversion of justice. We will charge him. We will try him. This will be publicly available on video to watch. You know, if people want to be citizens' grand jurors and you haven't been convicted of a felony and can take an oath that you will decide it fairly, please contact me at leklayman@gmail.com, and we'll send you a questionnaire. That's what we did last time. We actually have jurors who make these decisions to indict and to listen to evidence and convict. But it's not going to happen. I like Pam Bondi. I know Pam Bondi. I think she's going to be a good Attorney General. But what is she up against at the Department of Justice? I can tell you because I was a Justice Department lawyer and I've dealt with them now for the better part of my career of several decades. 90% of the lawyers at the Department of Justice are Democrat leftists. They will be working against her. They'll be leaking information to harm her. She's going to have her hands full. And, I offer my support and Freedom Watch's support to help her, to support her. But she's got other things to deal with right now. And I frankly don't think that they'll be going after those individuals. The other reason is this.
Oh, wait, hold on just a minute. Can't she just get in there and clean house and start firing the top people and send a message that you work against me, you're gone? Poof.
The political appointees, she can. But the DS employees, the permanent employees, they're like cockroaches. You can't. An atom bomb can't get rid of them. They're there.
Terrible.
And it's terrible. And that they're going to have to change the whole system of government. And this is why we need the advisory council that I proposed that I could help chair to give Trump advice on how we do that. And Ramaswamy, Vivek, I have a hard time with his last time.
Ramaswamy.
Yeah, and Elon Musk should be dealing with that issue as well. Perhaps we can work in tandem. But it's very difficult to get rid of these people. Like I said, a nuclear blast couldn't get rid of them.
How about the FBI? Can't they clean house? Can't Kash Patel clean house at the FBI?
Again, he can do it at the political level, okay? Very hard to do it at the lower level unless he catches people in actually committing crimes. So it's going to be very hard. One thing that if the Republicans on Capitol Hill back Trump up and Kash Patel up, and I also think he was a great appointment, they can eliminate that department and start a new one. Okay, like they tend to do with the Department of Education, hopefully. I would just get rid of it. Kash Patel had apparently said, let's turn the FBI headquarters into a museum of all the crimes they've committed over the years, right? And let's create a new department. I think they should throw the baby out with the bathwater and get rid of all of them. That would probably be the easier way than going through, employment proceedings. In addition, they can let attrition take its toll as well. They cannot hire, additional agents or others, and there probably will be attrition. The morale is very bad. I've represented, first of all, I've worked with FBI agents when I was a Justice Department lawyer.
They're not all bad. Some of them are not liking what's going on.
I represented two great FBI agents by the name of Robert Wright and John Vinson, who tried to blow the whistle on what was happening prior to 9/11. Instead, they tried to drum them out of the FBI. And that was Bush, George W. Bush. So this is something which is endemic to the system, and there does need to be major overhaul. But I don't believe that Pam Bondi will be indicting them. And here's the other thing. And I saw this when I joined the NSA and Obama's deep state intelligence agencies, including the FBI, is that these people have files on everyone. They used to have hard files. Now they have it in computer out there in Colorado. They've got dirt on everyone. Supreme Court justices, I had whistleblowers come forward to me with that. And they can destroy you with what they know and what they have. And these officials, as brave as some of them may be, don't want to take that risk. And I'm not sure that Pam is willing to take that risk. They will destroy you. And so consequently, Trump, he doesn't care anymore. They've already tried, and they got everything they could on him. But the fact is that This is why people in Washington go along to get along, because of the fact that the deep state intelligence agencies have dirt on everyone. Nobody's perfect in their life. Maybe somebody had an affair, or someone is gay or lesbian or God knows what, and they don't want it out. I mean, people have rumored in D.C. for a very long time, and I believe it to be true, that Chief Justice John Roberts is a closet gay. Okay, and that's why he's frequently, sides with those interests. And his generation is no longer, it's no longer an embarrassment to be gay anymore. I mean, get an award for it, in our current, I'm being facetious, in our current world. But of that generation, they don't want that known, and there are others out there as well. So everyone has a skeleton somewhere in one manner, shape, or form. And that doesn't mean they're bad people. But the fact is that they don't want it out. And that is what keeps these people in power, because they blackmail them with what they have in the files. When I was running Judicial Watch, which I founded in 1994, there was the Filegate scandal. Hillary Clinton, using this lackey, Craig Livingstone, ordered up 900 FBI files on the Clintons' adversaries. And even some people that were supposed to be on their side, like James Carville, they got his file because they wanted to keep him under control. And that case went on for a number of years. Now they actually have it computerized, and they've got dirt on everybody. So that's a problem, and that's why you need a Freedom Watch, if I can give a little pitch here, because I'm not afraid. They come after me too. There's nothing more to be known. I will go after them in our citizens' grand juries and citizens' trials. But I don't see the bureaucracy under Trump doing it to any great extent, including Pam Bondi. I don't see it.
Can Kash Patel be a help? I mean, when I heard he was going to be nominated, he was a former federal prosecutor, and he's got a pretty good, heavy career and intel experience. I mean, he's a real guy. And I'm thinking, this is going to be fun to watch in a good way. It's going to be Kash Patel.
I think it would be, and I hope that we can work with him at Freedom Watch. I'm going to, hold out our support. I've been impressed listening to him. The very fact that there's that amount of opposition means that he's a good guy. You judge yourself by your enemies. If you're not effective, you're not going to have people taking shots at you or trying to destroy you. And I learned that early on at Judicial Watch. I remember the very first time that I started working with Richard Viguerie, who was doing direct mail at the time. I created a product at Judicial Watch, and then we went out, and raised money for it. And the Washington Post did a profile on me, which was a hit piece. And I was sitting there with Richard at the Holiday Inn in Roslyn, Virginia, and I said, Richard, what do you think of this thing? I said, 90% of it is untrue. And he said, Larry, take it as a badge of honor. They wouldn't be writing this crap if they weren't afraid of you, if they didn't consider you to be a considerable adversary. And so the same is true with Kash Patel. The fact that they want to take his head off means that he's perceived to be a threat. Same thing with regard to Pete Hegseth. Same thing with regard to Tulsi Gabbard. These people, they don't like them because they can't be controlled. They're not part of the establishment. They don't like Musk. They're going to, God forbid, I hope it doesn't happen, but I think the left's probably going to try to kill Musk along with Trump again. They don't want these people out there, and that's a fact. I've had death threats myself frequently. So this is where we are, and you got to do what you got to do. Our founding fathers didn't worry about it. They did it under the grace of God, the divine providence, as they talked about in the Declaration of Independence.
What happens if Trump actually? I think he will take power. I think he he had some divine providence with God the Father and Jesus. I think they wanted him in. They're the kingmaker. All the glory to them for him getting in. What are they afraid of Trump getting in? Explain, because you got a lot of experience in Washington, and I don't think people understand why they're so desperate and crazy and foaming at the mouth. What are they most afraid of Trump getting in? What happens?
Well, they're afraid of their shadows. First of all, the left are a bunch of sissies. They're cowards. I mean, go to Beverly Hills, some places that I go to sometimes, or other liberal states, they're still walking around with masks over COVID-19. They love themselves to such a degree. They consider themselves to be the disciples of Marx. Actually, there's actually the disciples of the devil in reality. But they're worried about what you said could happen, being indicted. They're worried about, their standing, in the community in Washington, D.C., and the state capitals. I don't think they have much to worry about, frankly, in that regard, unless we're going through citizens' grand juries. But they think that may happen. And I think that's their concern with Trump. And ideologically, there's a concern with Trump because, look, the country today has a great sense of optimism. Yes, it's true that the father and son spared Trump's life. Thank God. I mean, this is the greatest affirmation of that we've seen, in the last many years. That fact that he survived and won the election by a landslide. This country would have been destroyed if Biden and Harris had continued on, and the rest of the vile leftists that support them. But they are afraid, and they don't know what may come, and they think basically he's a little bit like Richard Nixon in many ways. They can't control him. They think he's capable of anything, and consequently, that's why there's such resistance. I mean, you see the resistance right now. You see it with the attempts to kill his nominees just a few days ago. That plot was uncovered. You see it with Gavin Newsom in California within milliseconds, setting up an anti-Trump task force in the California legislature. You see it with Alessandria Ocasio-Cortez saying she may run for president. I mean, God forbid, she has no chance, but that's she can try. But they're out there, and as I predicted in our last podcast, the violence is just beginning. Once he takes office, once he starts implementing what he says he's going to do with regard to the border, with regard to our criminal justice system, with regard to many other things, with regard to the Middle East, he's just basically threatened Iran. If the hostages aren't released, you're going to get all these radical terrorist sympathizers come out of the woodwork on that. Already Iran sent hit squads to try to kill him. He's up against a lot. And, right now, it hasn't come to fruition yet because he's not president. But once he becomes president, all hell's going to break loose. You can bet that's going to happen with his first executive orders and rescinding Biden's executive orders and a lot of other things that he plans to do. And I give him credit, but he cannot do it by himself. And we cannot just depend on the people around him to do it because they have this tremendous bureaucratic resistance in Washington. Is that we, the American people, must stand there with him. We cannot say, as some people have said to me, Larry, go ahead and retire, let the Republicans do it. They're not going to do it. Look, Greg, who's leading the Senate right now, John Thune, a rhino Republican. Okay, he will, every step of the way, he will try to hinder Trump. He'll try to hinder Trump with the nominations and the confirmations. When Trump needs to do a recess appointment, most likely for Gabby Tulsi Gabbard, for Kash Patel, for Pete Hegseth, and some others, he will resist that. He will, he is a disciple of Mitch McConnell. That's who's running the Senate.
So you think that some people are saying, "Oh no, Kash Patel will get. He's got good credentials." I got to tell you, I think he's got good credentials. They don't like his politics, but and also Pam Bondi, she was a former state AG in a big state. Tulsi Gabbard was basically signed up for battle. She's seen real battle. So was Hegseth. Do you think that none of those people will be basically confirmed in the Republican Senate?
I think Pam Bondi will be. Even though she's not establishment at heart, she comes from an establishment background, Attorney General of Florida. It's hard to deny that. But I think that Hegseth and Tulsi Gabbard will probably have to be recess appointments along with some others. And that's fine.
And Trump can do that. I'm going to tap your legal mind here and parse the tea leaves. You think Trump, he's the executive of the executive branch. People don't realize the executive branch consists of really one person, the president. And you're saying he can do what he wants with those appointments.
He can do what he wants. But when that happens, all hell's going to break loose. I remember Dick Durbin. I mean, he's a really sleazy, dishonest politician. from Chicago. It tells you something, right?
Right.
And he says, "Oh, you can't fire Christopher Wray." I mean, the guy is almost as bad as Biden when it comes to being a pathological liar. So, this is what you're up against, and you're up against the Adam Schiff, who now is a senator. You're up against Gerald Nadler. You're up against a number of other individuals in the House and in the Senate that will do whatever they can to try to block Trump. So when he actually takes executive action and pushes things through, excuse the French, the shit's going to hit the fan. And you're going to see them in the streets, essentially. As we saw just in the last few weeks with reported attempts to kill the nominees. It's there.
Man, that is, and people, I mean, this is so crazy. This is overload. I've never seen that. I've never seen that a president in my time of, I've been in the news business since the 70s. I've never seen that, we're going to start killing your nominees. We go, what? But here we are. Here we are right now. A couple assassination attempts that we know of on Trump. I think there's been more. But then they just come right flat out and say they were going to kill your nominees. That's just outrageous.
Well, and again, who is Trump? Okay, as far as we know, Elon Musk made a remark, and he put it on X a couple months ago when Trump was assassinated, and he said, well, who would bother with Biden? What's the difference? Basically. He was trying to use a little humor, probably went a little bit too far at the time. But the fact is that Trump is a real threat, okay, and his nominees are a real threat. So he's in the crosshairs of the left. And remember, the left is a disciple of Karl Marx. The ends justify the means, Communist Manifesto. So if you have to kill someone to put your agenda in place or to keep your virtual dictatorship, which you've had for the last 4 years, they'll do it. And Greg, does anyone believe that we don't know who the shooter at Butler, Pennsylvania is? That there was no motive? Does anyone believe that? This was obviously an inside job in one manner, shape, or form. It was covered up by the FBI.
Now, they executed him.
Yeah.
They didn't try to arrest him. They shot him.
Yeah, whether or not someone plotted to kill Trump inside the government, by not giving him adequate security, they created the situation where he was likely to be killed. It was reasonably foreseeable, as lawyers say. So this came right out of the Biden-Harris regime and the people in and around the Biden-Harris regime, in particular the Secret Service, the moron who was running that, okay, is no longer there. So this, I believe it was intentional. And as I said last time, look, every major event in this country has been covered up by the FBI.
Yeah, you did. I wrote about that. Yes, sir. I mean, I went down the list of Sirhan and JFK and all the. We don't know anything about anything, right? Yeah, Martin Luther King. The family thinks that James Earl Ray was not the shooter. I'm going to come just because I'm like a kid in a candy store, just to tap your legal Washington swamp. Knowledge, you're not the Washington swamp, but you have a knowledge of it. So, great knowledge. You've been, fighting for a long time legally, and you've won a lot. That's the other thing. You have a big W column. But anyway, Gabbard and Hegseth and Cashman, they can fire people. They can shit can people. I'm sorry to say. I don't mean But that's what they're afraid of. That you're doing what? Okay, you're fired. Did I tell you to do that? You didn't do it? Okay, that's insubordination. You're fired. Can they do that?
Oh, well, first of all, political appointees they can get rid of right away, and so can Trump.
So they're gone. Poof, goodbye. Bye-bye.
They're gone. Now, as far as, the line agents at the FBI or, in the other agencies, what you can put them under is an investigation. That will put them on administrative leave. You can take them out of circulation. Unfortunately, the taxpayer still has to pay for it while this process goes on.
That'd be cheap just to get them out of the way.
You can get them out of the way. Maybe we can send them to some place in deep Virginia or whatever, and they can go commit crimes against each other. But they're going to be on the government payroll.
Well, who was the We Build the Wall? He's a triple amputee, and they went to his house with guns. And every one of those guys should be poof. You're not here. You did that. You didn't put up any resistance for it. You should be out the door.
Yeah. By the way, talking about cover-ups, You remember when the Dobbs decision was leaked before it came out by the Supreme Court?
Yes.
What does this tell you about John Roberts and the Supreme Court? They know who did it. And the FBI can't figure out who did it? Are you kidding me? And this resulted in attempted assassination of Justice Kavanaugh and others who voted to get rid of Roe v. Wade. So this is what you're dealing with our government. It is highly dangerous.
Wow.
Our government, as currently constituted, before Trump takes office, is pure evil. Pure evil. And it's controlled by a deep state, which, if not leftist, is power hungry and money hungry, which does not want competition, which really is more powerful than the President of the United States, him or herself. They are more powerful. And they, over the course of time, and I don't think anybody really even questions anymore that the CIA had John F. Kennedy killed. I don't think anybody questions that. I don't think anybody questions that really it has any degree of intelligence. J. Edgar Hoover didn't order a hit on Martin Luther King.
Are they going to release those papers now? Did Trump was talked out of it before, and now he's like, yeah, I get the game now. Yeah, no more, John Bolton's in my cabinet. No more of these people. Is he going to leak out? He's going to leak out. Is he going to put out the Kennedy assassination, JFK assassination papers?
I think he will. There's lots of things to put out, and he's going to have his neck on the line for that one. He should put that one out. He should put out Martin Luther King's assassination. He should release the files on unidentified flying objects. Okay, that's legit. Every other country in the world, major country, admits that we've had visitors here from alien craft. Maybe not manned, maybe they're unmanned, like we send to other planets, but they're lying about that too. And there's a whole story about that. We can do another show on that. What about what happened in Las Vegas with Stephen Paddock? What about what happened at the Olympics in Atlanta a number of years ago?
Paddock, there's so many holes in that story. The FBI is totally dumbfounded. They have no idea what's going on. What about this? The CV-19? Supposedly, he put somebody at the head of the what was it? Not the DEA. That's somebody else. At the head of the FDA. Where is it? I can't remember where it was. Is it? Let me just ask you this: do you think that's going to finally come out? I mean, Congress just had an investigation where we saved millions of lives with the rollout of the CV-19 vax. Not. I mean,
well, he's also indicted and tried Fauci. You can see that on our website at freedomwatchusa.org as well. And he got life imprisonment. Frankly, he ought to be arrested as well by established law enforcement, executing on our convictions. His actions have resulted in the death of over 10 million people worldwide, and that was a year ago. It was 10 million. It's probably more now. We gave the seeds of COVID-19, the SARS virus, to that Wuhan lab to do research with about a $2 million grant during the Obama-Biden administration. That is why it's been covered up. And the Chinese were absolutely correct when this thing hit. They said, what are you talking about? You're just blaming us? You gave it to us, okay? And of course, that lab in Wuhan is a bio lab. They create bioweapons, like we do at Fort Detrick. Totally illegal internationally, but countries don't care. I have a lawsuit that's pending in Dallas, Texas, in the federal court, where China refused to respond to the complaint they were served, and instead sent a letter to the State Department, Anthony Blinken, which then was sent to Merrick Garland at the Justice Department, saying that if this case proceeds, China will retaliate against the United States. In effect, threatening me and threatening the judge. The judge is sitting on a default now for over a year. The judge is a coward. He has no guts, and he's a perfect example of the corruption in our legal system because China did not respond to the complaint. The default should be entered, and we should have a trial on the damage. I filed it as a class action on behalf of all the people that have been killed and harmed by COVID-19.
Which was gain of function, which was a souped-up deal that started over here in the United States, and we paid for it over there, and then they released it back over here, and then we cut off, hydroxychloroquine, and ivermectin was told those don't work, and that they're dangerous. And of course, we lost 1 million people on the way in, and with the quackery of intubating people, and also giving them remdesivir, which Dr. Pierre Corey calls when death is near. And the hospital administrators all lined up for this and made thousands of dollars per kill. I hate to say it that way, but that's what the facts are.
Fauci would be a free shot if the Trump Justice Department wanted to indict someone. Everybody hates him at this point. There's nothing to lose.
The people that took these shots, I mean, you have Nancy Mace with the Republican congresswoman took 2 shots. She's got to be getting treated. Hopefully she's getting treated. That's the other thing. Nobody's getting treatment. And the treatment for Dr. Pierre Corey, one of the number one things he uses many, and I'm not a doctor, but what he did tell me, that he uses ivermectin, that people should be, if they got fax injury symptoms, that they ought to be treated with, at least ivermectin, which is, brain fog, which Chris Cuomo said he has brain fog and he's tired all the time and he gets tired out easily. Those are all symptoms of vax injury. But I want to go back to Ramaswamy. He actually came out and said he's going to crush the deep state. What do you think about that? How is he going to do that?
Well, I hope he can. I mean, I don't know how they crush it. I mean, what he's talking about is streamlining it, making it efficient, firing people that should not be there, that are working from home basically and reading Playboy magazine or whatever they do at home. And that's the fact that it's there, but he can't crush the deep state. He's going to need a Justice Department to work with him, and he's going to need a Freedom Watch and Larry Klayman to work with him, and we need to do it. And what I just was going to say about Fauci is that, they should indict him. It's a free shot on Fauci, so to speak, no pun intended. The guy is a criminal. He's a criminal.
You know how much comes out if they indict him? You know what he said? Well, I'm going to tell you what everybody else did. Do you know how much comes out if they indict him?
Did you ever realize
Hopefully everything.
The guy doesn't age, number one, okay? He's in his mid-80s, right?
Yeah.
And he looks like the devil, right? So the fact is, I think he is the devil, frankly, to be honest. He's embodied the spirit of the devil, for lack thereof. But yeah, he should be indicted. And, this is another example of Congress. Rand Paul asked some good questions at hearings, but that's as far as it goes.
I know that Dr. Paul, he's not out there saying, hey, maybe we should give people treatment. Of course, Congress got exemptions for these shots. They're so good that they got exemptions, along with the CDC and the FDA and other government, the post office. They all got exemptions. They're so great.
This is a dirty little secret. Yeah, they got exemptions. With regard to the vaccines, and RFK Jr. is absolutely right. I mean, he doesn't say all vaccines are bad. He doesn't say polio is bad or, the established ones that have a history of, helping people. But the reality is that Big Pharma is exempt from any damage that is caused by vaccines. How do you give them carte blanche to be exempt from this when they made trillions and trillions of dollars just most recently on COVID-19, then pushing booster shots and everything else? But there is what's called a vaccine court, which the government sets up. It's kind of like arbitration in a way, that if you've been harmed by a vaccine, you can recover. However, the COVID-19 manufacturers got themselves exempt from that as well. But in the past, with regard to vaccines, I think it's 75% of people who made a claim actually got a payout with that. So, and that's taxpayer money. It was just handed out. Okay, here you go. Take it. Go get lost. But the COVID-19 people, I believe I'm right on this, got themselves exempt from the vaccine court as well. So, but it's something that can be looked into. And if you've been harmed by a vaccine, contact me. I'll do some research for you on that. leklayman@gmail.com. I may not be right about that. Maybe they still can get compensation for being harmed. And I myself, my doctor, I didn't take the vaccine for a long time. My office mate, assistant got it really badly, and then he started screaming at me, get the vaccine. So I took one Pfizer shot, and I got sick. Then I got COVID, and then I had post-COVID, okay?
Well, I hate to tell you this, but you probably need treatment. I would book an appointment with Dr. Pierre Corey and talk to him.
I probably do.
Because you admitted, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to get in deep dive, but I know a lot about this, and of course I do not doctor, I'd like to say I do not lawyer, but you made a permanent edit in your DNA, and therefore you're producing spike proteins, and that won't stop, and the one thing that will remove it from the body is ivermectin, which is still...
It was a very bad mistake, at the time.
Well, you might be able to mitigate that by having treatment. Yeah. I would talk to Dr. Pierre Corey. I'll give you the information after this. But anyways...
Pfizer was potentially the most deadly of the vaccines. That's what I got. I got the first one. And I had colleagues in Israel. We actually brought a case in Israel like I brought in Dallas. And I had Israeli counsel, my colleagues over there, bring it. And the Israeli courts threw it out because China lobbied the foreign minister and the justice ministry in Israel to throw it out. Another dirty little secret is that Israel and Netanyahu have a lot of Chinese investment, and they were very much worried about losing that investment at the time. I love Israel. I'm a Zionist, okay? But the fact is politics entered into that. Right off the top, 3,000 Israelis were killed by the Pfizer vaccine, right in the beginning. And the Israeli government didn't allow it to go forward.
Oh, man. Well, I don't know if you know Francis Boyle. He is a professor of law.
Do.
Well, in 1989, he wrote the Bioweapons Act, so he's a pretty good source for what is a bioweapon, I'd say. And he made an affidavit for Joseph Ladapo, the Surgeon General of Florida, who wants to take these, or has taken these off the market. He's told people not to give these mRNA shots anymore, and he said it was a bioweapon, a weapon of mass destruction.
Absolutely, he did an affidavit for my case in Dallas. It's in front of the judge. Okay, I also had Judy Mikovits, okay, who worked with Fauci, who knows what a criminal he is.
Oh, yeah.
They destroyed Judy. They tried to throw her in prison because she revealed, what a criminal he is. And they discredited her. And she warned people about these vaccines.
They want this to go away, but it's never going to go away.
No.
It's not going to go away. And I want to just close with this. Nice, crisp 40-minute interview. What a great, mind-blowing fact out of your historic vault after another. And that's a compliment. But the election season hurt you guys. In other words, it sucked all the cash, out of the room and went to political campaigns. And then here, Freedom Watch got nothing. You guys are still struggling and need donations, correct?
We do. We need it badly, Greg. I appreciate that. And last time, people did come to our aid, and we appreciate that. Our supporters that do. But yes, we need contributions. I need to hire more lawyers, more paralegals. I need to pay very expensive deposition costs that I take, and court filing fees, and travel, and everything else, because our cases are all around the country. So I really do appreciate it if people could contribute. It's tax deductible, and if you donate over $75, well, I'll send you a free copy of my book. It takes a counter revolution, Wake Up America, and we really need it badly. But yes, the political season, people gave a lot of money, and thank God they didn't give as much as the Democrats did to Kamala Harris.
Well, you, my friend, could stand up to an audit if you needed to, because I know the money goes for what it's doing. You're not getting your nails done and buying furs and going to shop at Sephora and that's Ron McDaniels. But anyway, I digress. But hopefully you'll get help, because it's very worthy and it helps America. And like you're saying, that you have to have this outside the government partnership. That's perfect. Freedom Watch. Very perfect. And thank you very much. I want you to come back because, I found this news peg of Hunter Biden being pardoned. I mean, a huge, massive pardon. I mean, it's 10 years. Who does that? But anyway, thank you very much for weighing in on it, that the government's a mess, and here's just more of a red flag of why it's such a mess.
The bottom line is we can get it done, but we need to hang together, or separately, as Benjamin Franklin said, we'll hang. Okay? And the left will be very happy to hang us. I mean, they already had a noose around our necks for 4 years. But we need to help President Trump. We just can't say, okay, you go do it. Okay, so Freedom Watch is there to be his partner. And consequently, Kash Patel, Pete Hegseth, Tulsi Gabbard, the rest of them, we're there to help them and to defend them and to do what's right. And, and another thing that has been going on, Greg, I'll be brief, is that the D.C. bar and New York bar has been trying to get rid of lawyers like me. So we have to fight them off. I've been fighting them for 14 years because they're controlled by socialists, communists, atheists, and the rest. They even have a communist in the D.C. bar disciplinary apparatus named Michael Tiger, who was fired by Justice Brennan for his ties to Fidel Castro. So we need the help for that too, because we need to protect conservative lawyers so we can go into court and we can make the arguments. Nearly everybody who defended Trump wound up with bar complaints, and Giuliani just got disbarred unfairly. So there's an aspect of that too. I want to defend these conservative lawyers, not just myself, but the rest of them, because we're all under attack. They want to eliminate any ability of us to wage a defense or to bring cases in court against the left.
And I'll make sure that the donation tab is up. There's also a snail mail donation for people who don't like that electronic signature. I know about that. Larry Klayman, just what a wealth of information, and you get a complete, a much better perspective about what the heck we face, which I'm so happy you came on. I want to have you come back. There'll be more legal stuff coming down, and I'm going to lean on you for that if it's okay with you, right?
Greg, you're great. Thank you.
All right, thanks for coming on, and we will have you back. You were a favorite. You had like 130 or 40,000 views on Rumble, and people love you, and so do I. Thank you, Larry Klayman. A legal mind and lawyer extraordinaire, fighting for America. Larry Klayman at freedomwatch.org. Thank you for joining us today.
FreedomWatchUSA.org.
FreedomWatchUSA.org. I'm sorry, FreedomWatchUSA.org, and I'll put up the donation pages in the snail mail for you to help them. And thank you again, Larry Klayman.
God bless you, and God bless everybody who's listening.
And as we close, a shout out to my loyal and trusted advertisers. Again, phone numbers for them all: discount gold and silver trading. Always prepare. There's a phone number down there for a satellite phone store where they have satellite phones, bivy sticks, and solar-powered backup generators, which really come in handy. 855-980-5830. Block all signals. This is darkbags.com. Also, this backpack will stop all signals and most handgun rounds. Clean water, dry element. Their filter fits a Berkey, and I think they're the best water filtration people around, and you can call them on the phone, talk to a human, and you can get somebody on the phone during normal business hours. Same thing with Weston Scientific. This isn't an air filtration system, it's an air treatment system. It's bipolar ionization, which is very, very safe, especially with them trying to get this bird flu going again. You can also talk to human. You can talk to actually Weston Warren, 573-469-5013. And last, and certainly not least, the Wellness Company. This is the extended Cyber Monday sale, and you can get now 20% till midnight on Tuesday night, till midnight, 12/3, 20% on any of these wellness kits. What's shown right here is the emergency medical wellness kit. They have the contagion wellness kit, and these kits. I'm telling you, it's an easy thing for you to sell. You can also refill them for $30. 20% off. So let's say you have a $300 kit, and they're roughly around 300, a little more, a little less. You have $60 off. Plus, you can refill them for $30. And what happens if they really get this going? And they do want to get this going. And that's Dr. Peter McCullough has said that. Other people, Dr. Betsy Eads, they're really working to get this going. Also, Karen Kingston. Of course, they want you to get the bird flu vaccine, which Dr. Peter McCullough says, don't do it. I think one country overseas in Europe, I think Great Britain, ordered 5 million bird flu vaccines untested. And especially dangerous for people who have had the COVID vaccine, because the CV-19 vaccines destroy your immune system. That is a scientific fact. But anyway, this is the last day of the big Cyber Monday extended sale. Just click on right here, the Wellness Company. Get life-saving meds now. I'm proud to represent this company. Anyway, thank you for supporting USAWatchdog.com with your comments and your donations. That always helps us out. Appreciate it. And thanks again for really supporting me and supporting the people on USAWatchdog.com.